Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about a children's trading card game. Now, before we get started, I want to thank Sundial, my simian level supporter, and remind you if you want to pick up some Get Rid of content, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to pick up some Get Rid of products, please use my affiliate links in the description. That would be much appreciated. Now, I have had a lot of messages from various people about, oh, have you got a tier list? What are some top decks? What are some top deck lists? Blah, 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 blah. Look, mate. Build it yourself. No, I'm kidding. I would have had all that stuff out ages ago if my bloody product had come in, but as of the time of this recording, it still hasn't. So I thought, why not make some high quality content by talking about someone else's deck lists? I know, very big brain. So what I'm going to be talking about here, as you probably saw from the, I presume, very clickbaited thumbnail, I haven't made it yet, but I imagine I'll do a good job, is I'm going to be talking about this article. And this is a fantastic article on the official Gate Ruler website. Which you can find just by going to the columns section. And this basically is written by Achan, who is a pillar of the Japanese Gate Ruler community, who is just an alpha chat. Lad just does what he wants, and he wrote this really good article basically explaining the whole set one meta and why things work a certain way, and what you should sort of be considering to be a better player, what are the most important considerations for playing the game. Just a very all-round useful article, so I'm going to leave this linked in the description. I'm not just going to go through and read this, because there's a lot of very useful information here that I think you should take the time, read it, Google Translate's fine, and process that yourself. But what I do want to talk about are these deck lists, because a very interesting thing about our format is that we actually do not have to deal with the backpacker bullshit, as I like to call it. If there was basically an errata that went and made that card no longer as degenerate, if you are not sure what I'm talking about, you can check my video in the top right hand corner there, as I talk about the errata there and sort of what came about to make it happen. However, that does not mean that there are things. That does not mean that there aren't things we can let. My English is poor at the moment because I'm an idiot. So let's just talk about the deck lists, all right? People have been asking me, what are some top lists? Well, here's what topped in Japan. But I know people want night lists, and I also know that this isn't going to directly apply because our format is different. We have a solution to the issue of the totally overpowering pink problem. So this is a starting point, but I assure you, this is not the best list anymore. There are changes. The game is way, 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 way more balanced at the top end for us than it was in Japan. And it wasn't exactly unbalanced, but it was just oh, why would I use all my IQ points to play Knight when I can just ooga booga look at the top two cards in my deck and play Apprentice? It is what it is. A lot less of an issue in our format. I've rambled long enough. Let's talk about these lists. So, the first one here is the classic burn beat red pink does what it wants, and I'm basically just going to go through and I'm going to discuss a lot of these choices. So first, the Legends Captain Omega. If you're not playing Captain Omega, I do think you're capping a little bit. The card is such high value. It is a 5/5/3. That means its HP is annoying to get rid of. Its attack is just good enough to get rid of annoying things. Its 3 strike means it's highly threatening. And its overdrive pops anything. And I really need you to understand that that is very, very rare. So yeah, just an all-round fantastic card. Kunimi Koga, best legend in the game. Outside of Flying Spaghetti Monster in set 2, but even then, Kunimi Koga is so good, will retain value long term into the future. Amazing. Make total sense. Now let's discuss the other stuff. So 2 copies of Recruiter here. Personally, I disagree with that. I really hate Recruiter, but sure. The swap, essentially, as long as you're upgrading in value for whatever you get, then it's worth it, and you're giving your opponent some dogshit stats. Fine. Then we've got 4 vanilla, 4 backpacker, 4 big stats, 4 counter recycler, 4 2-strike vanilla, 4 2-strike vanilla, and 4 vanilla. As you can see, it's pure stats value there, with the exception of backpacker, who is also stats value, is a 4/4. She's a 4/4, and also, of course, does the whole thing where you can hit more counters as your check. It's going to let you upgrade your stats potentially, but of course, as well, in the Japanese format, don't forget that you had the thing where Backpacker just played itself for free, essentially, because you would activate your sets. Of course, you cannot do that anymore. Then let's talk about the counters, or rather the events. We've got 4 Zap Zap Zap, of course. 2 of your Yokai National Law, I can't remember the name of it in English. 2 copies of your Photon Torpedo, 4 copies of your Blaster Cannon, and then you've got 4 Ether Field and 2 Space Mimic. So again, a very, very standard lineup here for the Japanese side. Why are you playing these cards? Well, Zap 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 is the best removal in the game. Yokai National Law is just really, really nice. When you hit it on that counter check, it's a heal 2. Very, very solid. Photon Torpedo, really good. You typically are going to be using it for the set destruction. However, the fact that you can burn, combined with your high aggression, and the fact that Recruiter can also just yoink some really key stuff your opponent has to enable a lethal that turn is really, really solid. Similarly, Blaster Cannon, typically you're going to be using that for removal, but it can again burn 1. It's Blaster Cannon, do not sleep on this card. It is basically like, as much as Zap 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 is the premier form of removal, so is Blaster Cannon. Like, Blaster Cannon is really, really, really good. Ether Field is, of course, your best null in the game in set 1, and Space Mimic is there as pure bait to make your opponent really hate themselves when they pop it. So this is a very, very solid list. Notice, important things, no Tathadija, no Sakura. Very interesting. And this is because your entire deck is really high value, and you don't actually need those cards. Now, if you want to see a more in-depth discussion on 1000 Year Sakura, you can check the card in the top right-hand corner, as I have a nice in-depth discussion on that topic just there. Next, we have got a different sort of red pink, but you can see this is more control-y. Now you're using things like Invasion Emperor to yoink units. You got Yobiko and Aburuma to get more of your sets. You're playing a lot more sets to enable those. You got 4 Yokai National Law to increase your longevity. You've got 2 of your Excalibur to give you more removal. 4 copies of your reduce any damage to 0, which is really nice in making sure your unit's going to be on the board. You're playing Crystal here. Of course, notice you actually weren't playing Crystal in this previous list, which might surprise a lot of people because Crystal seems like obvious value, but it's not always necessary. And then, of course, you've got your Ether Fields and your Space Mimics and so on. So this is another take, a very different take. The way this deck plays is actually very, very, very different. And I think a big part of the reason why you say, oh, red-pink is really good, but there was actually quite a lot of diversity within red-pink. There was at least 4 very distinct red-pink decks that you might come up against, which is why game knowledge is actually so important. And basically, once you saw a card, being able to understand what you were up against and then adjust your play really mattered. So as much as Apprentice was an Uga Buga top deck Fiesta, there was still a lot of skill in navigating those matchups. Now we've got something very interesting that will be available to us from June as we get Zolta as our promo, so sort of why I waited till now to make this video. Let's talk through here your Legends. Magvarius is phenomenal. However you see this card, you're going to be happy as long as it's not like in your first 3 damage. Basically, after that, it's going to be giving you value. Zolta, 773, monstrous stats, genuinely terrifying. Invasion Emperor, again, to be yoinking. Crystal for your sets, Backpacker for value, Cimmerian for stats, Yamada for stats, and Yuki Onna for stats. So as you can see, lots of vanillas, just lots of stat value. You really need to understand the value of stats in set 1 of Gate Ruler is tremendous. 4 Zap Zap Zap, 4 Blaster Cannon, of course, the staples. 4 Forbid, and this is a trend that you will see going into set 2. Yellow Pink loves Forbid. Forbid is a fantastic card, and if you can spell null at the right time with a Forbid, that will win you the game. 4 Flying Shield, amazing card. It came in my list of cards that you absolutely need to have playsets of, really, really solid. Then, of course, 4 Ether Field, the classic, and 2 Capture Beam, and generally you want to be using Capture Beam on, I would say Yamada's generally going to be because 5 HP, but of course, Yuki Onna is also really, really valuable. So yeah, another very, very solid take on this value apprentice sort of idea. Finally, we have got Atlas Pink, and you can see Pink is not going anywhere as far as Apprentice is concerned. It's far too key, but this is a really, really, really nice list that it's using Owl, and it's really good, honestly. It sucks to me that it didn't really see a great deal of play, but there's so much value here. I really, really like this list. So you got your Hades for your revives, and also just being a generally high value unit. Wales to heal, and of course, again, being a really solid unit. Invasion Emperor to yoink. Liberty for constant revival. Then you got your Werewolf for stat value. You've got your Backpacker because it's Backpacker. You've got your Magical Innovator to recycle your counters. You've got your Banshee because great stats. You've got Jack the Ripper, primarily because it's a level 0 owl with some degree of attack stat. Personally, I really don't like it, but yeah, you got your Docklefars because it's 4 HP, which is really nice. Then, of course, you've got your Eds as well for that burn. Then you've got, here you're really being hampered by your level limit. 1 zap, zap, zap for Schrodinger's Cat. Schrodinger's Cat is really the most important thing here. Being able to play stuff out of your damage, swap things in, ensure that you're going to have owls in your damage zone that are actually going to be able to be healed out is really nice. You've got 1... just a flesh wound, just as a nice little bit of longevity, keeping your stuff around. Very annoying for your opponent to deal with. You got 4 copies of suppressing fire. This is a really, really nice bit of removal. It's only 2, but you've got lots of little pings. And in combination with an Ed, it can remove something really annoying. Ed plus Mimic, potentially, if your opponent's going to leave all that up. It's a lot of cards to commit, but can be nice. Then you got your Ether Field, and of course you got your Mimics again as your typical fuck you. So there we go. Those are some really, really good apprentice lists to start with. Lots of options. 1 for every combination besides black. It's not really worth going with black in my opinion in set 1. There's just not the card pool. But yeah, really, really good stuff. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, like the video, leave your comments in the comment section down below, your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel for great content. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Again, affiliate link description, shilling. Join my Discord server, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.